All right, good morning, 7th grade. Let's have your attention. Get quiet. Okay. Most of you know today is a very special day. It's Veterans Day, and it's a day that we get to say thank you to the men and women who serve our country and protect your freedoms. And I told the 8th grade today, you wouldn't be sitting in the building like this if we didn't have veterans out there fighting for our freedoms. We have 5 special guests for you today. I'm going to read their bios, and then we'll introduce them. First is Staff Sergeant Felipe Renner, who was born and raised in Chile, South America. He and his family moved to the Philadelphia area when he was 16 years old. He joined the Army Reserves in 1990 during his senior year of high school and graduated basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri as a combat engineer. In 1993, he transferred to the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, reporting to the Armory located on Raps Dam Road in Phoenixville. With his new unit, he became an infantryman. In 2000, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. Sergeant Renner did 2 combat tours in Iraq during the years 2005 and 2009, reaching the rank of staff sergeant in the first tour. He retired from the Guard in 2010. His highest awards are the Meritorious Service Medal and the Combat Infantry Badge. He graduated from Penn State University with a degree in Management Science and Informational Systems in 1999, and he currently works as Assistant Director at Vehicle Dynamics Institute. Our second and third guests are brothers who graduated from Phoenixville Area High School. Some of your teachers know them, and back in 2000, 2001, I was their assistant principal. Staff Sergeant Josh Corporal, born and raised in Phoenixville, graduated from Phoenixville High School in 2001. Joined the Pennsylvania Army National Guard in September of 1999, and deployed to Iraq in 2004, 2005, and 2008, 2009 in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Highest medals include the Combat Infantryman's Badge, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, job skills acquired while serving the 11th Bravo Infantryman, 11th Bravo 2 Charlie Javelin Gunner, currently assigned to Bravo Company 1st Battalion 111th Infantry Regiment, 56th Stryker Brigade, 28th Infantry Division, Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Josh's brother Joel Corporal was born and raised in Phoenixville. Graduated from Phoenixville Area High School in 2001, joined the Pennsylvania Army National Guard in 2001. He deployed to Iraq in 2004, 2005, and 2008, 2009. Highest medals include the Combat Infantryman's Badge, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal. Job skills acquired while serving: 11 Bravo Infantryman, 74 Delta Chemical Specialist, currently serving as the Assistant Operations Sergeant in Headquarters 111th Infantry Regiment as part of the unit's full-time staff. We also have William Taylor Reel with us. Bill is 71 years old and is a Vietnam War veteran. He graduated Druid Hills High School in Atlanta, Georgia, and served 8 years in the United States Air Force. After completing basic and technical training, Mr. Reel, an aircraft electrical technician, was stationed at Columbus Air Force Base, Columbus, Mississippi for 2.5 years, at Kadena Air Force Base on the island of Okinawa for 2 years, which included multiple temporary duty deployments to Southeast Asia at the Grievous Air Force Base, Rome, New York for 3 years, where he obtained the rank of Staff Sergeant. After leaving the Air Force, Mr. Reel attended Mohawk Valley Community College in Utica, New York, and Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University in Blacksburg, Virginia, where he received a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Mr. Reel is also the founder and executive director of the County Sheriff Brigades of Pennsylvania. Also with us today to open our assembly is Mr. Justin Emmerich from the Sons of Liberty Riders. Hope you enjoy our assembly today.
Thank you, Justin. Are we awake? Good morning, Phoenixville, 7th graders. Thank you. That's sweet, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, today's Veterans Day, November 11th. My good friend who works here, we served together in Iraq, and he asked me, hey, do you want to come to my school where I work and talk what Veterans Day means to me? And I said, sure. But at the time, I was like, well, you know something? I never thought about it in that term. It's like, what does Veterans Day mean? So for a couple of days, I was like, I had to thought it over. And I came down to one single word, at least for me. And it's love. Now, you may think, love? Don't you go to war? Isn't it very violent? Is there a lot of nastiness? And you're right. But in moments like those, in those situations, there's a lot of goodness too, especially from people. You can also say that it's also love of country, love of family, and love to your fellow soldier, who's to your left, to your right. That, for me, is Veterans Day. It's for the people who served with me. Unfortunately, also, some of them fell in combat, too. But it's also to remember all the generations before us, too. You know, not far away from here is Valley Forge. Over 200 years ago, we had the first Americans who served there. They sacrificed for something bigger than themselves. And I think the common denominator was the love of their family, the love of their country, of the soil. So for me, Veterans Day is a love of my fellow soldiers. Another thing that I want to bring up, actually, I'm pretty sure many of you have had family who have served in the military or currently are serving in the military. It's a good idea if you can talk to them. Now, we're very reluctant sometimes of talking about it, but if you go and you ask them nicely, it's like, hey, where did you serve, when, what happened? They'll be very honored. It's very special. Well, 7th graders, thank you for being here, for listening to me, and I move the mic to someone else who will tell you what Veterans Day means for them. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to introduce to you now Mr. Joel Corporal. Joel, come on out.
Good morning. That was weak. The 6th graders did better than that. Good morning. Outstanding. That's what I like to hear. A little bit of motivation in the morning. My name's Staff Sergeant Corporal. It's kind of tough to beat a motorcycle coming out on stage and Sergeant Renner talking. I was asked to come here and explain to you or tell you what I think Veterans Day means to me. What I told the 6th grade class is down and dirty what I'm going to tell you. This Veterans Day means to me is the camaraderie and the brotherhood and sisterhood that you have between the individuals that you served with, the individuals that you haven't served with on an everyday basis. Now, I don't celebrate Veterans Day just one day a year. It's 365 days for me. I wear this uniform every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday and Sunday as well. 8 to 4:30 every day. You know, it's something that I appreciate doing. I've been in the military for pretty much as long as everyone in this room has been alive. For 12 years, I've been in the military. I've done 2 deployments. I've done a deployment here in the States, down at Philadelphia Airport. It's something that means a lot to me, means a lot to my family. On both my deployments, I was with my brother, and having someone that's in your family while you're away is pretty much like you never left home. How many in here, by a show of hands, has family members, brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts in the service now? All right, everybody look around. A lot of your peers have family members that are in the service today, which is a good thing. All right? You know, like Sergeant Renner said, go home and ask your family members what Veterans Day means to them. Not all answers are going to be the same. All right? I think I have time for one or two questions, if anybody has for me. I know there's got to be questions. Sixth grade, everybody in the sixth grade class had questions. You guys are much older now. You should know. You should have some questions. Any questions? No? Bueller? This young man right here in the front row. That's kind of a tough question. But I would like to answer that question with this, that a veteran, to me, honestly, my brother did. My older brother signed up 2 years prior to me enlisting. And I figured I would follow him around and annoy him some more in my everyday life, which seemed to be working. One more question, and I'll pass the mic off to the principal. All the way in the back. You, yeah. The food. It's probably better than your cafeteria food. I should know, I went to this school. I'm kidding. That's a silly question. One more good question and I'll pass the mic off. Promise. Then I'll stop talking and you guys won't have to hear me. You right here. Well, just like I told this young man over here, when my brother enlisted in 1999, I had 2 years till I can enlist. I enlisted at the age of 17. So from 1999 to 2001, I had 2 years to think. And like I said to him, you know, I wanted to do something with my life. I wanted to go around, travel, see different parts of the world, you know, make the place that we live in today a better place. Not only for myself and my family, but for you and your family. Okay? All right, that is all. I thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, Joel. Now we're going to bring out Joel's brother, Josh. And as you heard, they served together, and both graduates of our high school. Josh.
Morning, guys. Oh, come on. Don't make my brother feel so good about himself that you guys are louder for him than me. Good morning. They were louder. They were louder for me. So where to start? Pretty much the 6th and 8th graders pretty much said the same thing. So my buddy that works here asked me to come in to talk to you guys, to talk to the 6th and 8th graders as well about what Veterans Day means to me. And you know, Sergeant Renner, what he said was pretty good. You know, it's about, you know, love and respect and honor and just all the values that your parents are teaching you now. You know, it comes down to the camaraderie that my brother said. You know, relying on the brother that is not your brother. So it's like a brother from another mother, right? But in my case, it is my brother. You know, I rely on him for a lot of things, and he relies on me for a lot of things. But then Sergeant Renner, you know, he comes from a totally different walk of life, and I met him when I joined, and instantly, you know, he was my brother. He was my brother in arms. You know, and when I joined, there was no Iraq War. It was, you know, 1999 Most of you guys weren't even alive yet. There was no September 11th. You know, there was no anything. It was a pretty cool time to be in the military because you weren't really doing too much. So I went when I was a junior in high school. I enlisted. I had to get my mom's signature because I was only 17. She asked me if I really wanted to do it. I told her, yeah. You know, I wanted to do what my grandfather did before me and what, you know, my other relatives have done. Not only to serve Phoenixville, but to serve my country, to do something that was noticeable to my family and to me, and to make a mark on my life. So I went to basic training. It was hot. It was really crappy. But I got through it, came back, and I finished up my high school year over at the high school and graduated and went back down there again for the rest of my training. Then 9/11 hit, and my whole world was spun in a 360, in a 180 degrees. You know, everything was fine, and then 9/11 hit. From there, you know, I did state activations to help out the community, not only, like I said, in this area, but you know, further away than here. You know, I was at Limerick Power Plant for 9 months. I did something there. And I've done other things too with hurricanes and snowstorms and stuff like that throughout the years. 2004, we got the call to go to Iraq. I went to Iraq with my brother. One of the best things that I could have done. It was a great decision for me to volunteer for that. To do it with my brother, nonetheless. And to do it with a bunch of guys that I've grown to know over the years that I've been in. We came back in 2005. And went back to like our training status. I'm only in the National Guard, so I only do it once a month, 2 weeks in the summer. But like I said, the occasional, you know, state activation comes up with going for hurricanes, for Hurricane Sandy, or whatever it was called, Sandy something, right? The snowstorms, you know, I did stuff with that. And then 2008, I went back to Iraq with my brother again, and did another tour with my brother. I've gone to other places too, not just the war zone. I went to Latvia. If a lot of you guys are in geography, would know that, you know, that's right by Russia. So it was pretty cold. And I went in October, so it was really cold. I was there for about a month, and it was a really good experience. I got to work with the different countries that were over there, the Latvians, the Estonians, and the Lithuanians, and their armies and how they work. So it was a pretty unique training event for me, and it was once in a lifetime for me. I've done a lot of schools, a lot of different schooling with the military. I've gone to Warrior Leadership course, which trains you a soldier to be a sergeant, to lead soldiers with training them and making, you know, and going into combat. From there, I did a basic non-commissioned officer course, which trains me to be a step up from a sergeant. And that's what I am today. I'm a staff sergeant. So I have about 9 guys that I'm in control of. So that's 9 lives that I have to watch out for and make sure that they come home if we do go overseas. So it's a lot of responsibility. So it's, you know, Veterans Day to me it's very important to me. Like I said, you know, me and my brother are both in, so it's right here for me. So that's pretty much it. I can open it up to a couple questions. Anybody? You right there. No, the question was, have I ever jumped out of a plane? No. Why would I jump out of a perfectly good airplane? You know, it's flying, it's not going down. No, that's part of the airborne. That's what they do. They jump out of the planes and stuff. They do all the cool stuff. I'd like to, though. Anybody else? Were my parents against me or with me? At first, my mom was a little weary about it. I mean, you think about it. You know, her son wants to join the military at 17. It's not a very, you know, the decision that she had to make with my dad was pretty intense. But she knew that I wanted to do it, and I really wanted to do it. she wanted to know why I wanted to do it. And I told her, my pop-up was in, his brothers were in. I said, I want to do it for the family. I want to do something that's going to mark who I am as a person. Yep, I got 14 and a half years in. So like I said, more than most of you kids have been alive. Good question. Anybody else? No? You sure? Nothing over here? There you go. What kind of things did I do in basic training? They teach us a lot of different things. One is, how to read a map. I'm sure you guys remember Dora, the map. Nothing like it. I'm telling you, the map does not talk. They teach us basic rifle marksmanship, how to be accurate and precise with a rifle. They teach us, just different classes and stuff like that. They teach us how to run around in the mud. Call of Duty, everybody, right? Okay. It's pretty much like Call of Duty. I'm not going to say it's exactly like it because there's a lot of things that are a little far-fetched in it, but for the most part, right there. How often do I get to come home? Well, I actually serve a dual purpose in the military. I'm in the National Guard, so I do it one weekend a month and 2 to 3 weeks in the summer. So when I'm not drilling, when I'm not on my weekend status, I'm actually working a civilian job, just like pretty much your parents do. And then when I get a call for state activation or deployment, they call me and I let my my employer know, hey, I got to go. I got to go serve my country, or I got to serve the state, depending on which one it is. It's a good question. One more. Right here. What's that?
What was the biggest challenge you had to overcome?
The biggest challenge I had to overcome? I think the biggest challenge that I've had to overcome in my military career was leaving my family behind. On my first deployment in 2004, my daughter was only a year old, so she was barely walking, barely talking. So it really hit me hard when I had to leave, and I cried. I'm not gonna lie. But when I came home, she was 3 years old. So she was walking and talking and saying hi, Daddy, and everything. So when I came home, it was very hard, warming to me to know that my daughter was already, that's so grown up over a year and a half. So, all right, well, I'm going to let the next guy come out, and I'm sure you guys can ask him a couple questions. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you guys later.
I want to thank Josh and Joel for coming out today. It's good to see them back in our school district. Our last guest is Mr. Bill Rule, and he served in Vietnam. So, Bill, welcome.
Hello. I don't know whether you'll believe it or not, but once upon a time, I was in the same grade you're in, the 7th grade. Now, that was a long time ago. And I enjoyed it. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends. Eventually got into high school and began to get serious, and got interested in, always was interested in math and science. And as a result, when I got out of high school, I went in the Air Force and applied to be an aircraft electrical technician and was trained. In fact, I thought, oh boy, I'm getting out of school, I can take a break. And sure enough, first thing in the Air Force, 6 months of schooling, which was a good thing, you have to know what you're doing. And throughout my term of 8 years in the service, I went to many, many schools and was stationed not only in Columbus, Mississippi, where I worked on B-52s and KC-135s, but then got transferred to Okinawa. How many of you know where Okinawa is? Have a couple, that's great. Okinawa is a small island off of China. It's 12 miles long and 3 miles wide in the widest place. The northern part's all jungle. A lot of people in the southern section, and I happen to be based in the air base in the southern part, but went for temporary duty to a lot of different places, particularly in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War. Frankly, if we could avoid war, that would be a good thing, wouldn't it? Because a lot of people suffer and die, and it's unnecessary in many cases, but it happens. And I frankly learned a lot and was always learning throughout my career. But I did decide when I came back to the United States and was stationed in Rome, New York, that I was going to get out of the service after 8 years. In fact, what motivated me was there were technical representatives who worked at the base who were supposed to help us with very difficult problems with the airplanes. They were specialists. And they were making somewhere $60,000, $70,000 a year, and that was in 1966, 67. And I was making $3,000. And I had room and boards, that's a good thing. But they would ask me, well, Sergeant Ryle, why does this do this? Now, I thought they were the ones that are supposed to be technically educated, right? So I said, I think it's in one of your books. Why don't you try chapter so-and-so and let them figure it out? But that convinced me that I should go back to school, and I did. And I got out of the service and I went to college and got an electrical engineering degree and continued to learn, and in fact, continue to learn to this day. I worked in the technical communications, sales, and marketing, as well as engineering through my professional career. Again, going to school constantly, it seemed. And now since I've been retired, I've been studying constitutional law for now 22, 23 years, and help people understand that as well. And so I would say that my whole life has been and is a whole phase of learning all sorts of different things, which makes it exciting, isn't it? Wouldn't it be dull if all you did was just know what you know now? Wouldn't it be sort of dull, right? So how many are going to keep learning every day, right? Oh, yeah, no. Guess what? No matter where you go, somebody's going to ask you to learn something new. That's just what life's about, and that's a good thing. I would encourage you to do that because it opens up a whole lot of doors. If you want to be whatever you graduate from high school and do whatever you want, that's great too, but I suspect you'll be learning things there. Go on to college if you choose. Go into graduate courses, but learning is an extremely important part of our lives. It was invaluable in my time in the service, and I hope to continue learning as long as I'm alive. I'm now 71, and I hope I have at least another 20 years. Are there any questions? Yes, sir. I am retired. Before I retired, I worked for Continental Telephone as an engineer. I worked for the city of Virginia Beach as an engineer. I then went into sales and marketing as a technical sales engineer and moved up through the ranks, became a national sales and marketing manager for, you may know the company, Rockwell International. No? Allen Bradley, similar company. 3M Company, another company I work for. You see, you move around, and each time you move, you got to learn a new system or a new company policies and other kind. Always learning. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. What was my rank? I obtained a staff sergeant, which is equivalent E5. The Air Force is really tough on rank. The Navy had it better. They would take a class, take a course and then an exam, and usually you're promoted based on the results of your exam. In the Air Force, it was, I think, more or less who liked you. At that time, anyway. I believe it's changed. But nevertheless, it was the rank that I achieved. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Weapon? Well, I was an aircraft electrical technician. My weapons were the oscilloscope and those kind of tools. And in fact, when I was in Vietnam, I was very concerned because all of the weapons were locked up in a metal enclosure, and the first sergeant had the key. And even though the base was attacked from time to time, which we would then jump down in the ditch in the middle of the tent, I was always concerned, well, what happens if the chief sergeant gets shot, and nobody had opened the box for us to get our weapons. Fortunately, I was never required to do that. However, I did qualify as an expert marksman. Yes. How long have I been retired? It's been about 17 years. One more question. Yes. How old was I? Well, 17 years ago. I don't know. You do the math. I was in my late 50s. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day today. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you, and thank you very much.
Okay, well, we want to thank all our guests for being with us today. Remember, although we celebrate Veterans Day today, Veterans Day is every day. There are people serving our country to protect your freedom all throughout this world. Let's ask our guests to come out, and we'll give them one final round of applause. We're also going to give them our Phantom Pride t-shirts for coming out today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed our assembly, and thank you for being a